Hey guys, so Jeremy here with Thomas Chavez. So the question, Thomas, is really, what to do when we're you know broken and depressed and just messed up after a breakup. I guess the first thing we talk about what typically people do, what I've done in the past, and what is perhaps a more
What I've done in the past
what you've
too?
done in the past. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I guess perhaps all of us have done in the past. What people typically do, and then what are the faults for that path of action? What is the damage we cause, and what would be a better course, right, for ourselves, our community, and our health, so to speak,
Okay.
right?
Well, we can dump all of the behaviors in one big pile,
Yeah.
and then we can sort of sort it out afterwards.
Okay.
And the big pile is we avoid what we feel.
For sure. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
And we avoid what we feel. We go, this is terrible. I don't want to be here. Right.
Yeah.
And then we engage in whatever our avoidance addiction is. And that divides it into lots and lots and lots of choices.
Okay. Well, I'll just give an example. In my case, me and this girl split up, and for 6 months, you know, after the fact, all I did was I just kept super busy. Go, 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 do, more projects, more of this, more of that. And I didn't grieve or I didn't mourn or nothing
Okay.
happened, right?
Well, we call that the workaholic, right?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what's happening is among all of the ways to keep ourselves from the truth of who we are, how we're feeling, what's going on, that has certain side benefits because stuff gets done.
Yeah, more stuff gets done.
Lots of stuff gets done. And it is just about the same, at the core, as eating yourself into blowing up like a balloon or drinking until you wake up in the gutter.
Yeah.
Or, getting lost, uh, reading comic books. I've known, full-grown men who had businesses and lives give up and retreat to being 13 years old, turning pages of colorful little magazines, um, and doing nothing else and being nothing else.
So you say those are the main culprits is food and drink and drugs.
Not the
and
main
work.
culprits. I mean, we're very, very, very creative about these things. Video games are wonderful for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Television is made specifically to put you somewhere else outside of your own life, and it's always made me feel horrible to notice how many people really have such hideous lives that they'd rather be watching the television, which is so banal and pointless.
Yeah.
But that's better than what they've got.
Yeah. Okay.
So oh my God, what have they got?
What have they got? Yeah.
Okay, so we do many, many things, and some of these things are things that in other contexts are praiseworthy. Okay, these are all ways to go unconscious to our own feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And we can go unconscious to our feeling with alcohol, with marijuana, with heroin, with methadone, with cocaine, with Big Macs,
pizza,
with filet mignon, right?
Oh,
okay, with anything to stuff the face,
with other women,
with sexuality, that whose only purpose is to distract myself from what I don't want to think about, what I don't want to remember, what I don't want to feel.
Okay.
Anything. We can use sexuality for unconsciousness, but we can also use reading, which is a praiseworthy thing. But we can read to the point where we're lost. We are unconscious of all else. That is still unconsciousness. We can go unconscious through dancing. Good stuff.
Yeah.
We can go unconscious through exercise.
Yeah.
Through
working
out, cross country skiing, running marathons, whatever. If we can use virtually anything in our life if we do it to the point where we're unconscious of ourselves and our feelings. It is unconsciousness. Okay, we are separating ourselves from being alive, from who we are, and it's way down at the bottom of being, and it's not good for us.
Okay,
not good for us at all.
Not good. Okay, so I think the majority, we're talking right now in terms of relationships where it happens a lot through breakups and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But to what extent is it necessary for us to do that? Because I always imagine if you took on all the emotions at once or the trauma at once, it would be in effect overwhelming for a lot of folks. Like,
okay, yeah. That really, that's a very complicated question when you come down to it. Literally, we do not, or most of us, let's not do, one size fits all statements, but most of us do not have the clarity, the discipline, or the stick-to-itiveness, the persistence that it takes to just be with what hurts, sort it out, see what I did, take responsibility for everything that's mine, forgive myself and forgive the other person, love what is, and go forward. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's what it takes. And we don't have what it takes to do what it takes. But it takes only one or two other human beings who are committed to helping you be truthful and real, that you could do all of the work that cleans up the need for grief in a month or less if you were really at it.
Yeah.
Okay? Otherwise, good grief takes about 2 years to really just have it gone.
Yeah.
Okay? Really have it all over.
So, because that was my experience, 2 years, but a month or less, with diligent community.
Yeah. With diligent support.
Yeah.
And you're really working on it. And that does not mean what we normally do. Your buddy comes to you and he's got a tale of woe, and his girl threw him out on his ears, and what do you say? You say, well, she wasn't worth it anyway, right?
Yeah.
And you say,
this will make you stronger.
It's a good experience that you had this, and you now will, know something more, and it'll make you stronger, and here, have a drink, and we'll go out partying, and all of that.
This all off, yeah.
Right. All of this is actually harming the person you're trying to help. Okay? Because it doesn't make it go away. It just makes it hang out in the corner, in the closet, under the bed, and but it's not gone. It's not gone. And it makes it so that they will be in pain for months and years. Yeah. And that I can remember going out to date 6 months, 8 months after really losing a relationship that had seemed extraordinarily important to me, even though I fucked it up just as much as the other person. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't fully real and responsible about my dysfunction. But I hurt. And I wished things were different.
Yeah.
And it had been 6 months, and here I'm on the date with somebody. We're trying to figure out whether, uh, whether there's a spark. And I can't stop myself from talking about what went wrong way back then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm not over it.
Yeah.
Okay? And I'm not over it because I never went into it, took responsibility, and cleaned up my experience. It was all loose ends, untied threads, broken promises, that I made and that she made, and all that. Nothing was let go, and it can't be let go by refusing to look at it, refusing to know about it, refusing to feel it. Okay?
Yeah.
It's hard work. And when I say we don't have the discipline and we don't have the stick-to-itiveness and we don't even have the tools to do that really, really hard work, it's because we don't want to, because it's that hard of work that we want to shun it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact is, we don't get to.
Yeah. So my experience was I had 6 months of ignoring it. Trying to not. I was pushing it down. I guess just unconsciously moving forward, and I thought I'd got over it. But 6 months later, I had this emotional breakdown where, in effect, the dams had broken open. Of all the emotionality.
Yes.
And what I realized was, wow, this just was sitting back in bay, waiting for an opportunity to unleash itself here, right? And it was forced upon me in a way to start dealing, at least with some of it. Maybe not the full batch, but enough to let some of the strain off.
Unfortunately, that's not even a full metaphor.
Yeah.
Because not only was it sitting there waiting like water behind a dam, it was sitting there waiting like a ferment in a bottle, building pressure.
Like champagne, yeah.
Okay? And, something cracks the bottle and...
Yeah.
Okay? That's a much better metaphor.
Yeah.
Nothing in life just hangs there.
Things grow.
Things grow. Life is motion. We have motion, and there is growth. There is growing reality. So,
so when that exploded in my case,
mm-hmm.
It was like, holy shit, I was messed up for 6 weeks on the couch, couldn't eat, grieving, mourning, worst time ever, and I just went through it. And I realized now that I was wholly unprepared for that whole experience, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. But, living through it was very painful, and it was very damaging, and that was it. And at the end of it, I felt a little bit better, but not much better. And then it slowly, life slowly started to
come together,
regain its colors, but it took a long time.
Yes. Yeah. So this whole process that I'm talking about of learning to look what we really hate. We hate that this happened.
Yeah.
If I have lost my family, the whole structure into which I had put all of my intentions for the future flushed down the toilet. And I have no future, right?
Yeah.
I am in a bad place, and I don't take responsibility for it. Or if I do, I don't take responsibility. I take blame. Blame and responsibility are not the same things. People who take blame will shoot themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's nothing more irresponsible than that.
Mm-hmm.
Responsibility is I am able to respond. I own this. I did what I did. I said what I said. I tried what I tried. I produced a situation in which her reactivity went the way it went. Okay?
Yeah.
And she did what she did. And I reacted to it, and it went back and forth like ping pong balls filled with dynamite.
Yeah.
And we harmed each other. And I feel like shit about that.
Yeah.
Okay? That's real.
Yeah.
Okay? That, in our Compass Way description, is the first self in the three self exercise, or the three self process, which is self awareness. I am aware that I feel like shit about what happened. I am aware that I did what I did.
Yeah.
I'm aware that I said what I said. I am aware that even though at the moment it felt like I couldn't have said anything else because that's what instantly happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I'm aware that that was a robot that was triggered, and I let myself be represented by a robot that I'd had prepared, sitting there for years, ready to say those things.
Yeah.
Okay. That had I been really with it with myself, I could have just flicked the switch and turned the robot off, and been someone else and said something else, and that I wasn't with it, and that's what I said. That's what happened. It's real. And I wish it wasn't, but it is. Okay? This is self-awareness.
Yeah. Which, because I, like, for instance, I did not go there first. Maybe I was aware, but I was choosing not to see it. You know?
Right.
It was like nothing even happened. I remember not remembering her, and I realized, holy shit, I haven't thought about this girl in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I had totally just negated the whole existence, right? All right, so step one, awareness.
It's self-awareness.
Yeah.
Then it is self-forgiveness. Okay. And self-forgiveness really is an act of love. Not of like, not of desire, not of approval, not of enjoyment. Yeah. It's oneness. It's being one with myself again. Yeah. Okay, I take my mistakes into me because I am that. I am not rejecting that part of me that said those things or behaved that way, or whatever. I'm no longer rejecting it. I am one with this, and I'm one with her, even though she called me a this and that and whatever, and now wants to kill me. Yeah. Okay. And that doesn't mean that, oh, well, I love her, now I go bother her. It's, I no longer refuse to know who she is or see her face in my mind. Yeah. I that history is my history. That joy was my joy. It's now on the shelf. It's no longer what's happening. But I'm not denying it. Okay. Self is love. Love is self. Love is unconditional. It's agape. It is holding together and not saying, well, yeah, I'll forgive her if she's, kisses my feet. No. Yeah. Unconditional. It's, I forgive me, and I forgive the situation, and I forgive her. Why? Forgiveness is simply loving now what I couldn't love then. Yeah. It's remedial oneness, remedial love. And why would I do that? Because once it is forgiven, it's not something undone. It's no longer unfinished business. It's no longer something waiting to jump out at me from the shadows. It's no longer something that I am refusing to look at, or something that I can't help but think about obsessively, even though it's 6 months gone, or a year gone, or 2 years gone. It's in the past. It's part of history, and the history book is up on the shelf. And I can pull it down and read it, but I don't have to stumble over it. It's done.
Yeah.
Okay. So forgiveness is part of letting it be in the past. Okay. So here is the three. That's the second self in the three self process: self awareness, self forgiveness, and then self correction. And that has lots and lots of potential forms, which is, the simplest is, all right, now I get it. Uh, I don't try to say this, do this, get this, you know, um, out of the next woman that I have relations with. Right? I'm, whatever it is that may have been the trigger, I don't pull that trigger. That's a self correction, right? Mm-hmm. It could be that I send reparations because I go, oh, wow, I was so out of line.
Yeah.
Okay. Or it could be that I do work on myself so that I function differently. Not just because of a decision that I'm going to hold back or change my behavior, but because I am now a different person. That's a self-correction. Okay? So all of those are potential self-corrections.
Yeah.
And we choose the self-correction that feels most honest, most functional, most fitting and right for us. Because it's us. It's all self.
Okay. So take the case, guy broke up with girl 2 months later, in the shits, not sure what to feel or think or whatever. Mm-hmm. But they're aware. Suddenly they're aware, like, okay, yeah, I really messed that one up, for this reason or that reason, and conscious of what's going on, but all the emotional stuff. How can they start to work it?
They find somebody.
Yeah.
They find a friend, yeah. Or they find. Unfortunately, it doesn't work to go to most counselors because most counselors aren't really in this vein.
Yeah.
Okay. Some are on the edge of it, and some are really into it, but most are not even there.
Yeah.
But you find somebody who knows the compass way. That's what I should be doing. And saying, we have a system, we have a framework, but we find somebody who can be there and listen as you discover what's real. When we talk, eventually we start telling the truth.
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
But it takes time usually. Yeah. And somebody has to be listening. Yeah. And listening means being really present and getting what's going on in a way that is about right now. Most people are listening for what they can say.
Yeah, they're like cocking an idea.
Right.
Yeah.
They I know what to do, and I know what, and so where can I get it in? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I mean, we're just with somebody who's willing to be with you, just with you, present in an open way. And so in the Compass Way, we have a real simple system where the person who has been asked to listen is asking themselves, am I breathing? And noticing where their pattern of breathing is. What is my stance? Am I open and totally in a place where my body is signaling that I'm in a state of grace, or is my body signaling that I'm in a getting along state, trying to make something happen, trying to help this person, trying to teach them something, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or am I in a very tense place, uh, feeling really bad? Oh God, ick! I don't want to hear this.
Yeah.
Get out of here!
Yeah.
And waiting to get this over somehow, right?
Yeah.
I'm asking myself, okay, well, am I breathing? What is my stance? How am I feeling? Really, literally, how am I feeling in my body?
Yeah.
All right. Now that I know, where do where do I go from here? What state of consciousness do I want to be in? So if I happen to be in a wonderful state of grace, and I get to where do I go from here? Same place. If I happen to be in some other place, well, I can choose. I can choose to end the interview and say, I'm not. I'm just not there. I want to go off and
Drink some.
you know drink some poison or something,
Yeah.
whatever. Well, or I want, or whatever. I want to charge you money or whatever.
Yeah.
Or is you say inside, oh, I want to be, I want to be in that open place for him, and you just return to an open place. So it's that's not so hard. You have somebody who's really listening, and you're telling your story.
And
At first, you're telling the story the way you want it to be heard, the
Yeah.
way you've been telling it to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? I am the victim, and I didn't do anything, and boy, was she a da-di-da, and then it was all for nothing, and it was, and it was, it was all based on whatever. Okay? But as I'm able to talk and being heard instead of being soothed. Oh yes, you're so right. You're so you are so victimized, and you're in such terrible situation. Boy, you're really you're really lucky that she let you go without killing you or whatever. The as long as that's not happening, and I keep telling the story, I have a chance to let the elaborations and the bullshit slide away, and will come out with, well, yeah, but maybe she had a little bit of reason, because really I did say that, you know, uh, you know, I only wish there was a horse that I could bring into the bedroom and, you know, whatever, right?
Yeah.
And 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 I can start unpeeling the story and in getting down into the what's deep and real. And I start talking about my pain that caused me to say the thing or do the thing or suggest the thing that caused the explosion over there. What was I about? Okay, and I start digging into myself because I have support, and maybe that person is skilled enough with these 4 questions. Okay, we call them the compass questions, that they might ask me those questions. And I might notice that I have been in a state of getting along, trying to think of how to come out of this, as the wounded hero, or as the as the person who did nothing wrong, and is just being put upon, or uh, trying to come out of this uh, with an enhanced reputation in some way. Okay, so, or I'm I, they may ask you, are you breathing? What's your stance? How do you feel? Where do you want to go from here? And I might notice that I'm all hunkered down, ready to pull a knife at the very thought of, right?
Yeah.
Okay. If I notice, and I notice where I'm at, and I can learn to choose where I'm at, and I can move myself into a state of grace about what hurts, then I can start telling the truth, being aware of what's real, forgiving myself without trying to absolve myself, without lying. See, most people cannot forgive for real. They just can't forgive. What they do is they lie and then say, well, then it's okay.
Yeah, they're okay with the lie.
Right, but that's not what it's about.
Yeah.
Okay? No.
Like, is simply discovering the honest truth enough to heal or like start processing?
That starts the process.
Yeah.
It starts the process. It is not the process.
Yeah.
But it starts the process. Because it is being in love, really having love for what is, that is the moment of magic.
Okay.
But we cannot be in love with what is unless we know what is. And as long as we are trying to get sympathy, trying to come out on top, trying to belittle the other person,
It's just all self-medication, eh?
all any of those things, we're not being honest.
Yeah.
Okay? We can tell a story, absolutely honest, in which it's, the other person's missteps will indeed be showing up. But that's not the purpose of the story. As long as that's the purpose of the story,
yeah,
we're not being honest.
Okay? So, you said example 1, it takes 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So guy, 6 months avoiding it, and then gets emotional, and then slowly kind of, pitters his way through.
Yes.
And then the other scenario is over a month with some dedicated people. What does that look like? We'll have, not step by step, but what would that look like in comparison to the first lad who takes 2 years on his own?
Well, what happens is I'm not wasting time in delusional function.
Yeah.
Okay? Refusing. One of the things that the human beings typically do when something awful happens is say, no, it can't be.
Yeah.
Okay? No, it can't be. Yeah. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
Talk about wasting time. You wouldn't even be making noises if it weren't true. It's happened. So the very first thing that we do is divorce ourselves from reality and be delusional. And people will get on a high horse and say, that's not delusional because no, forget it. I'm using the word advisedly, but I am using it to really emphasize how unreal the response is. It's not part of being where we are, doing what we're doing, and being with what is. So something is taking place. All right, this is something that I have physically done.
Yeah.
I have walked through the dark, kicked the chair hard enough to give myself enough pain that it feels like I've broken my toes. Mm-hmm. Okay? Maybe 2 toes, maybe 1, maybe 3. Right? Whatever. Mm-hmm. Bang! I have trained myself to hold still, feel that pain, really get that pain. Wow! And love the pain itself. And love the fact that I kicked that chair. that whoever the hell left that chair in the passage where it was dark and I didn't know it was there did so. And it might have been me, it might have been someone else. And to love the thought that I may have done myself physical damage, even though I don't want physical damage.
Yeah.
Okay. In just a couple of minutes, the enormous pain has fizzled out and is gone, and there's never any physical damage. Even if I, in my memory, think I heard a bone snap. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, am I going to prove that I broke a bone and the bone repaired? I'm not even going to try. I'm going to simply say that inside of 4 or 5 minutes, I have gone from a crisis to it's over and I'm walking down the hall again and there's nothing happening.
This is a metaphor for what is possible with relationships.
It's what is possible with relationships and with any other undesirable part of life. Yeah. Okay? It's just a metaphor, but it is a living physical metaphor. Yeah. I have actually done it, and I have done it many times, and I have failed to do it too. Yeah. It's not something that I have yet gotten to the point where it automatically happens and only happens. Yeah. But it's something that can happen more and more often as I get good at living my life this way. In presence, absolutely present to where my life is. Yeah. Really accepting that what is. Really grateful for that acceptable life, even if it would be previously unacceptable. The event might be something that I would experience as unacceptable. In the past. Yeah. All right.
And so, will the depression or death? Because I think a common pattern is you go from being very alive and enthusiastic and filled with love and joy and happiness, to being very bummed and depressed and pissed and not feeling good. So is the result of processing all this stuff a return to that state?
It certainly can be. Yes. Yeah. It gives you the opportunity to be totally present with what is. Mm-hmm. And when I am totally present with what is, and I can totally accept what is, then I can love what is. And if I can love what is, including the pain, I can love what's going on that isn't painful.
The things that are nice.
That are nice, yeah. And then I can be joyful, and I can be inspired, and I can be in awe, and everything moves on in a really powerful way.
And so is it that when we're not open and loving to the pain and stuff, we're also closed up to the joy?
We are all, yes, we're closed up to life.
Closed up to life.
We are closed up to what we are doing is we are putting ourselves in a fortress. Yeah. And we are building the fortress deeper and higher and out of bigger blocks and ultimately the final fortress is the grave. Yeah. Right?
It's the biggest, baddest fortress.
It's the biggest, baddest fortress there is. You can stick a pin in you all you want, and you'll never peep. Yeah. Okay. That death, utter non-existence in this world, is the price of seeking safety. What we are trying to do by being in self-protection in any of the flavors, anger, fear, grief, apathy, unconsciousness, okay, any of the flavors of self-protection. The price we pay is non-life. And we can have non-life and still be able to grunt and turn over in bed and and curse, right?
Yeah.
But we can have non-life even to the point where we can't turn over in bed and they throw dirt over us.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, for sure. And so what do we tell, like, I'm just thinking of myself back when, sitting on the couch, I'm avoiding everything, I'm eating shitty food, I'm not dealing with it. What do you tell someone like that who, in a way, too, I wasn't able to even access the emotions or pain? It come to the point where it was so unconscious I wasn't even aware.
Yeah.
There was an elephant somewhere.
Right.
But I couldn't tell you where.
Right.
Something was not right. That's all I remember thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So you come in and you say, "Do you notice that something's not right?"
And I'm like, "Yeah."
Okay. What do you think it might be? And I shut up and I don't think myself.
Yeah.
I open up and I be utterly present to you, utterly loving of you, totally accepting of you. Right? Just here in the openness, and let you go, I don't know. And I look at you in the eye and I nod my head. Oh, you don't know. Well, if you did know, what would it be? Could you guess? And then I shut up.
Yeah.
And I let you flounder around and you know what? 9 times out of 10, in your floundering, just that far in, you'll start guessing about things that actually are real, did happen.
Yeah, one thing leads to another, yeah.
Yeah. But the key is not how clever the questions are. Though I can ask clever questions. I've been at this for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay? But the key is totally being right here for you.
Yeah.
And not attacking you, but supporting you. Being totally in a place where you can start excavating.
Yeah.
Okay? And you actually do know what's going on. But you haven't let yourself know that you know.
Yeah.
And having one person, 2 persons, a whole little community of persons willing to be there as you find out what is true inside yourself for yourself.
Yeah.
That's what it takes. Anything I say to you like, come on, you idiot, right? If you're in that place,
yeah.
That's an attack.
Yeah.
And you withdraw further.
Yeah.
You tighten up tighter. Right?
Yeah.
Anything I say that is, God, you're really out of it, right? Yeah. It makes you feel worse. Yeah. Okay? And you will fight it, and things get worse. The tension gets deeper. The contraction of self gets tighter.
Yeah.
All right? Now, people do recognize that and make a terrible mistake of, all right, we're not going to tell him he's full of poop. What we're going to tell him is he's a jolly good fellow and all he needs to do is go drinking with us. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. Once in 1,000 times. That will actually produce good results. But what that does is you tell him, oh, you're such a good fellow, let's go out and here, drink this and whatever. And what happens is that you drink enough that you stop lying to yourself. Yeah. And you start blubbering all over yourself. And you have a moment when you're actually releasing some of the tension, and you're actually telling yourself the truth about how bad you feel. Okay? But that's not the majority of what happens. It's just something that happens often enough that it's entered the stories as a myth. It doesn't happen often enough for it to be real therapy. Okay? It's much better to not lie to you, not tell you that you're doing well, but also do everything possible to not attack you and to simply be there in support of you as you unfold your contraction. You unfold your fighting stance. You dig yourself out of your grave and start becoming self-aware. Yeah. And then, after you're really aware, help you accept that, yeah, wow. What happens when you're aware of that? Would it be possible for you to love yourself even if that were true? I can love you even if that were true. Can you love you? Right? And move that condition so that my openness, my being in an unrestrained place in my body, unrestrained and uncontracted, my being in a place of grace, invites you into doing it yourself. And so that you can be in self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, and only from a place of love, in the field of love, that's arrived at through self-forgiveness, than self-correction. Not correction through fighting. Because correction through fighting does not produce correction.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's a matter of really being in that field of love, and then see what correction comes from that. So again, going back to that simple 3 self process: self acceptance, telling the truth; self forgiveness, loving what is; self correction, only in that field of love, not in shame, not in anger, not in fear, but through love. And that is arrived at through support so much more easily, 1,000,000 times easily, by comparison to trying to hold your own feet to the fire when you're already in a terrible state.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I'm not saying it couldn't ever happen.
Yeah.
But boy, it makes a difference.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay, great. I think that's good for this little session. I guess next time we can talk more about that state of love and the dynamics of entering into that and doing it. But
unfortunately, it's a profoundly misused word, and so we're very confused about it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, but we'll talk about it next time.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Thomas.